Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of planning our recovery for Mayfield. Another short 10-minute film, long enough to listen to me, I think, long enough for anybody to have to listen to me. And what we're going to do today is walk again all the way through school and just show you some more rooms and what we're about and how it works. And then in the coming weeks, as I said in my weekly briefing, we'll take a more in-depth look at small aspects of what we do and how they work. Now, this is a very natural film. It's not staged and it's not plastic. It's the end of a school day and I'm walking around the building, so we'll see staff. We might see the odd vacuum cleaner because obviously we do our cleaning here and there. We might see teachers tidying and sorting. You're not getting a school that's got all the polished brasses, so to speak. You're getting a very natural tour of our working school, and that's how I want it to come across. So I'm in year 6 at the moment. This is 6JG. Anywhere where we've got names visible we won't film, but you can see the layout and the horseshoe idea at work here in year 6. Every room has a slightly different interpretation upon the horseshoe, depending upon numbers in the class and the level of need within the class, and also the mixture of abilities, but that horseshoe principle and input is key. So in every single room that you go into, every child is on the front row. They are an active participant in learning, and that's key. We haven't got somebody on the 4th row or on the back table out the way. Everybody is very much on the front row and an active participant. And we've been doing a lot of work as teachers about active participation. And going back to the classic mini whiteboard, because that's such a wonderful tool for taking part in learning and keeping that brain active at all times. Each opportunity we're looking at getting the children more and more actively engaged. So a phrase I always use when I teach is, nobody's sleeping while I'm teaching. And that's the sort of philosophy that we want, that the children are ready and raring to go. And that's more important than ever in a recovery situation. And that's a very deliberate choice that we've made. Not simply looking about what test are we going to give them to find out what they know. It's about what set of skills are they returning with, or what set of skills have they lost, or what gaps are there. And active participation is key. So here's our horseshoe in Mrs. Gaskell's class, and you can see the marking bays. We'll do sessions on marking bays in a few weeks, and we'll talk about those. I might even convince Mrs. Gaskell to be on one of the films about the maths. Okay. Right, let's head through. Come with me. This is year 6 cloakroom. What we've done with this is we've thought very carefully about space. The old cloakrooms were very tight and locked together and very wooden and very Victorian in feel. So we've opened the space up. We've invested in personalised lockers for every single child. There's just year 3 now that I've got to buy the last batch for, but I need the funding to do it bit by bit. But the idea again is that we've opened up space, which creates independence, but also it means they can put their individual items safely away. So from a COVID point of view, we haven't got a typical primary cloakroom of tight space and a mound of clothes everywhere. We've got organised compartments for every child. It encourages independence and it helps with our COVID transmission approach as well. And this is how it is in each of our areas, and you can see we've got new titles everywhere, and our collective carnival theme that I talked about before is ever present. Every room has had new decoration, and almost every room has had new carpeting as well. You might say, well, why is a carpet and paint important? If we value every achievement, we've got to make school ready to receive that. We've got to reflect that. We can't expect outstanding quality and put it in a broken matchbox. The box, the packaging is key for the children. It says we value what they do. So even down to the signs, even down to my pedantic use of the same font on the signs. And what that's also doing is aiding familiarity and organisation for the children. The more they see the same kinds of wording and messages year on year, the more comfortable and confident they can become in their surroundings and their expectations, and then the more independent they come as a result. Let's go and see Mr. Bear's class. Obviously, in year 6 in Key Stage 2, we've got a sister class in each area, or a brother class, whichever you want to call them. Come through, come this way. Mr. Bear's out of the room at the moment. Oh, he's hiding under a table somewhere, I don't know. I think he's out of the room at the moment. So you see Mr. Bear's class, again, is the same principle. It has the natural garden fete, garden party, carnival feel, same atmosphere, and the horseshoe is interpreted in a way that's correct for Mr. Bear. And the room is labelled and accessible that encourages independence. It's got that same feel all the time. And again, in future films, I'll talk about little aspects of what you see in much more detail. But you can see the spacious layout. It means teachers can get around, they can monitor, they can mark, they can give feedback, they can see work far easier. But it's also got that COVID transmission safety. So much space where the children can move, so much accessibility for the adults. But above all else, we can get to each child to support their learning. Designed twofold. It's safe, but it's progressive for learning as well. Okay, should we go through the gym? So we've done little bits in the gym, you know. We'll head through, okay? Come this way. That's year 6. Follow me to the gym. Got to learn to face the camera when I do this. I'm doing it very natural. There's no script with this. So this is the gym. We would have called it the dining hall or the hall before. We've changed every single room in terms of its defined use. Everything has a very clear use and a very clear purpose. One of the first things we did was refurbish each room. So again, in here it's had 2 fresh coats of paint, which isn't easy when we've got a very high ceiling. We've had new carpets put down the edges, which just takes some. There were some edges where it was really quiet. It needed some work, so we've taken those out. And under Mr. Ascom's lead, the site manager, we've refurbished this area entirely. We've decorated the room with our outcome displays that I mentioned last time on the film, celebrating progress from starting point. So that's, if you like, around our room. We've got a wonder wall that's developing around PSHE. It's not there yet, it's a work in progress. It's not entirely finished yet, but you can see we're a work in progress. Every school is. You're never going to get a polished version. You're always going to get something that's rolling forward. So let's have a wander through the gym. I won't go to year 5 because I went to year 5 last week and I started in there. So I feel like I've been in there. Shall we go to year 3? Let's have a little look in year 3. See, this is the other side of the entrance doors, year 4 and year 5 entrance doors. If you ever wonder what's beyond the doors, it's like Doctor Who's TARDIS, it's this in here. Let's go and see if Mrs. Jordan's in. She's not, we can come in. I feel like Goldilocks stealing the porridge. So this is year 3's interpretation of our COVID safe, but also our future layout. Our permanent future layout. Look at the horseshoes that are there and how they're working. I know Mrs. Jordan is trying out little formats and styles at the moment, as all teachers are being encouraged to do. So they've all got their own interpretation upon it. If you head round here, my world-class camera lady, if you have a look here, little things around the accessibility on the island, so important. Not just creating a resource, but how clear, how organised, how accessible is it. Aids the transmission, aids the movement, or should I say, stops the transmission and aids the movement, but equally engages with that independence that we want, what we want to see from those children. Labels are so important in a classroom, and where books are and how accessible they are. That helps that independent element. And notice in each place they've got their whiteboards ready and their own pencil cases ready. So they've got their own COVID safe equipment and they've got their own pencil cases and whiteboards there. Whiteboards been a key element. We've said to the children in the last few days, your whiteboard is your most important tool for your learning, and it's there with them at all times. You can see in each room we have our reading bays. This is something we've been developing over the last 12 months. Completely revamped the way we look at reading, using book bandit systems and recommended reads for more challenging times for the children. And those have been designated by the teachers. And you can see the importance again around the value we're giving to it. It's not just, there's a book in the corner, take a book. There's value and presentation to it. To value and achievement, we've got to enable it and show that we value that ourselves first, haven't we, before we pass that to the children. You can see the book banded books there. When I first came in as head a year ago, you would have had shelves, not quite of that quality, but books just everywhere and children choosing you've got to assist them with that choice. You've got to make sure they have the right challenge and they're choosing something that's more appropriate and within, shall we say, their reading age, for the want of a better phrase. So every detail is there. Shall we have a look at Mrs. Janet's class, the sister class? So I'll walk through. Notice, stop there for a moment, because we have our English bay. We call this our English bay, where everything sits. And it's about independence. The children have to manage and retain this. And we haven't touched this. This is the children organising this and maintaining this. And the important presence of these tools. If you want a present for the children for Christmas, get them a junior illustrator thesaurus. They are fabulous. They are fabulous for them. So important, and we've been doing a lot of work on those in the last few days as a key skill moving forward. Come through this way. Now this is the cloakroom that is the last one to do. So it hasn't got the lockers yet. It's had the decoration, and you can see Mr. Askin's still busy sorting bits out. But you can see how cramped it feels because it's the last of the old ones, and we're still moving old bits out. It just doesn't have that same feel that we're developing elsewhere. So this is the last one to do in July. If I had enough money, I would do it now. But the lockers and the carpets and the taking out of this space will be happening in the summer. But you can see the philosophy that we're creating. The signage is there. I've just got to have the last bit of money and the time during the summer holidays to put this into place. But it's an interesting contrast, isn't it, with what we've implemented, and really the last of the old, which is this. Of course, in Mrs. Janet's class in Year 3. So this is her class. You can see the same philosophy. And if the camera just pans around, it will speak for itself around what we're trying to create and the consistency of it. And I can use my island in the middle again for me to monitor, to walk around, to intervene, to be proactive. And I talk to my teachers and my teaching assistants so much about being proactive, looking for where you think the problem might be, looking for who might need that support and going there. But then once we're there, not giving answers, giving prompts, giving clues. And our staff have had a lot of training upon removing the Velcro and adding the independence. All that sort of thing that you would never see and never need to see, but is taking place all the time and has done so since September 2019. But important for you to see the philosophy and the ideas behind it. Ultimately, you've got all the training, the curriculum, all that goes together then in the teaching and learning, and is supported with the environment. And if we can make that environment as COVID safe as possible, then we're absolutely bang onto it. And my last job over the summer, carpets, lockers, and a new sink. This sink, I think, probably predates the school. And it's the last little piece in Key Stage 2, as I said, this area, that needs sort of bringing up to date. So it's, shall we say, it's checked in for a summer replacement. So we're always looking just at physical replacements. And they're not everything, but they do make a difference. Right, we're going to head back through, and I'm going to finish today's section just taking a closer look at Year 4. And the next time we meet, we'll take a close look at Year 2, Year 1, the theatre, and early years. Then we'll go more in depth as we move through the series. Follow me this way. Back through the cloakroom. Try and walk backwards, that would be quite a miracle. Notice all the teachers have gone into hiding because they know I'm filming. And I told them I was filming. And they know what I'm like because I'll make them YouTube stars as quickly as I possibly can. Okay, there we go. And I'm trying to do this while staying socially distanced because obviously I can't have my mask on while I'm filming really. So it's quite difficult walking backwards, keeping 2 metres away from the camera and talking coherently as well. So we're back in the gym and we're heading through now to Year 4. You see here we talked about the cloakroom redesign and the space we've created in the lockers. You can see here in the future design that we have in our Reading Carnival celebration and the difference between that and the last of the old in Year 3. It's Mr Taylor's class. There we are. So Mr Taylor's busy at work.
Oh yes.
And he's just been working on his classroom. We've just been taking out some of the last parts of your old layout to give yourself some more COVID-safe space here. And that's just happened today, hasn't it, actually?
Just today.
So we're still constantly, we're looking and revising. At about lunchtime today, me and Mr Taylor had a chat, and Mr Askham came up and sorted it all out. So it's that constant review and analysis that we're taking. And Mr Taylor again has got that layout that we talked about. So it's consistent for the children everywhere. They're not going to walk into a room and think, okay, what am I going to get this year? Because they're going to get a consistent diet and a consistent message. And that's what we're spending our time on, getting that consistent message. And to be honest with you, a process of teaching less, but teaching it more often, more frequently, so we become experts in things. There's a lot of things I'm hearing at the minute about pace and catching up and giving children endless quantities of learning. That will not work. The key is repetition. Think of everything you do in your lives and think how often you got it right the first time. And actually the things you're really good at, you do over and over and over again. You practice and you refine and you become confident and you become an expert and you can talk about it and you can share. Just the pure gathering of capture-up knowledge, I believe, is a long-term myth for short-term gain. We're about the long-term here. So in these rooms that we're setting up, it's about rhythm, practice, teaching less, and teaching it more regularly on a cycle. So that's the key philosophy that goes alongside the rooms. So I'll leave Mr Taylor to it. He's very good because he's one of the few teachers we've met so far. I think the rest have gone in time, Mr Taylor. They have. It's very brave of you, Mr Taylor, to make your filming debut today. So I might have a double act next time we make our film. There we go. Probably not. I won't put you into that. Thank you, Mr Taylor. Okay, no, we'll head through to the last classroom on our part 2 today. I've probably gone way over 10 minutes because once I start talking about school, I passionately can't stop. And I should, but there we go. I'll mention brain breaks next time. That's what these posters are. But that's another chat. Thank you, Mr Taylor. So, the last classroom to have a look at is essentially from Miss Woodcock's classroom. The partner class, year 4. Here's year 4 cloakums. Again, look at the space we've created. We've had what we had. We've taken the old pegs out there. Look at that clarity, clear, organised, COVID safe, helping to reduce the transmission, but helping also the independence. And again, it's got that same decoration, same font, same style. Year 4. And again, they're just playing about with these ideas. This setting might change a little bit, but they've got the beginnings of their horseshoeing here as well. And the island and how everything would work. There's the name for their island. We made them call it the island. But what happened was in the training day, I called my centre part here in year 5, called it the island, and I modelled it in year 5. So the teachers went away and pretty much said, I want an island. And they created their island in the same way. So credit to them, they've taken these ideas and really run with them. So that's really where we are. This is the last of the year 4 classes. You've seen the year 5 classes. I'm conscious I haven't been in Mrs McClintock's class yet, but we can always pick that up as part of a future look round. But you've seen most of Key Stage 2 there, and you've also seen the Pride of Mayfield corridor last week. As I say, next week we'll look in the younger areas of school and their journey, and then we'll take little aspects of school life, and you can see the fine detail that we're going into. This is a new school. This is a new journey. The bricks haven't changed. The attitude, the approach, the methodology, the internal has. So much has. Keep staying with us, stay with us, turn the page, and it's going to be a fabulous story. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. I'm sorry if I've gone over my time, but I do rather get carried away and passionate about things. So I'll see you next time, and I look forward to catching up on our recovery story part 3.